remember I told everybody that when they had the personal meetings with guys, this was a guy that they loved. They brought him in, put their eyes on him. And so when you have the personal meetings, they want to know what type of guy you are, if you really fit the bill. Do you pass the eye look test? Um, you know, are you a smart guy? What would you do in our defense? Maybe write some things up on the board. And so when you have this, they are very serious about it. So the Chiefs brought in Darius Alexander. And so for him, he's a big guy. Obviously he plays at Toledo. So some of the competition is not going to be, like you said, up there like in the SEC and whatnot. But he was so dominant up there that you couldn't dismiss what he was able to do. And I'm talking about he was able to walk guys back left to right. I mean, he was a man amongst boys. And so probably some of the knock on it was because, he did play down there at Toledo. So my thing is he's, his grade is, 613. He's right up there with everybody else. And his stock has just been rising and rising and rising because they're starting to see that, man, this dude right here is a serious deal. So somebody like this, you can definitely get in the second round. He's young. You could polish him up. He's another guy, like he's 6'4", 305. We're talking about body types inside. He can do it all. He could do the double team. He could come off, rush the passer. He could do, he did a good job all season dominating Toledo and all his competition that he had. The question is, does that translate to the NFL? That's always a question. I think it can. And so when a guy is 6'4", 305, and you're able to move a man against his own will, I think it translates regardless of where you go. So he was able to accomplish that, man. The Chiefs, like I said, they met with him because I think they believe he's somebody that they can necessarily get probably in the second round. Maybe I don't know if he goes to the third or not, but like I said before, the Chiefs are looking for defensive tackle, edge type of guys. Darius Alexander fits that bill for those inside guys. And so when we're talking about if Harmon's gone, and obviously if Nolan is gone, this is the guy that they like. Now, we'll talk and discuss about who is it that you want, who do you like? Do you take the best next guy, or is it you really like a guy? And they brought him in because they really like this dude. So, Darius Alexander out of Toledo.
I liked what I read about him. He is a little older. He'll be 25 this upcoming season.
Yeah.
So that might be a reason we can get him. He might drop because of that, because teams are scared of not getting guys who aren't legal to drink yet. But a media contributor, very polished. I read just heavyweight fighter hands is what what stood out to me. Just violent, really violent. They compared him to like Jared Verse type pop with his hands. That's one thing that just stood out. He just pops off with his hands and just hits you really hard. High motor, high pass and run grade, strong against the run. Slightly, I read inconsistent film between Senior Bowl and his actual college tape. But they just say, what you're getting out of him. And then he's someone who can maybe even play some, move him around, right? I mean, you got to kind of pop a left tackle, pop a right tackle. I mean, some of these guys are so talented. I'm not saying put them full-time at end, but I don't see why. If you have a nice 4-man rush, put him out there. If you get your plugger and DT, put him at end. Some of these guys are so talented that you could put him in anywhere. They're scheme versatile.
Yeah. And the thing is, like you were saying before, man, being 25 years old, he's mature. He kind of understands what it is he wants to be able to do. And so you get a guy. I remember we drafted Chad Lewis. Chad Lewis played at BYU. He had to go do the mission, came back, older guy. You could tell the difference in somebody like that, just older. And I think that's one of the things on a knock on Nolan, because they say, well, is he really, mature enough to play this? That's kind of one of the things they talk about with him. Darius Alexander's not going to have that question about him. he's probably got. Well, I ain't gonna say that, but you can tell a man when he comes in there. He's a man.
Yeah,
he's a man.
Plus, he's a DT. Who cares if he's 25? If he was a
Right.
receiver, I'd be like, oh man, you got about 5 years before he just declines.
Mm-hmm.
Like DTs hit their prime around. Some of those guys hit their prime around 30. It doesn't matter.
Right. So to me, 25 years of that grown man strength. Yeah, because he's a grown man, 100%. He did bench press 28 times. Probably could have threw it up some more. He probably just racked it. It was like, okay, that's enough. You have guys like that. He's like, hey man, you probably got 5 more in you. He's like, yeah, I know, I'm good. He probably just racked it. And that's why he keeps moving up, because when you have this combination of size and some speed, I think he ran what did he run? He ran a 4.95.
4.95.
Yeah. I mean, that's moving for a big guy like that.
Yeah, man.
6'4", 305. He's moving.
That's moving for a 25-year-old.
Yeah. He's coming after you. And he's got quickness too. So when he elongates himself, when he's tackling, he's using all that length, man. He's using all of it. And like you said, heavy hands, I mean, he's violent. He's a violent player. And I think that's what they love about it, because he's going to pack a wallop all day. And that's what you don't want to get hit by a guy like this. Seriously. So, yeah, you might ask him how your kids doing when you see him out on the field.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Also, too, I mean, if FAU ends up being a guy at some point, hopefully this year, have a guy like that, him and Alexander off the edge as far as a rotational package. I mean, two dudes. Hopefully Alexander shines right away if we were to get him. JD, I've seen a lot of people dogging you. You obviously are a great example of a person who came from a small school and had a 13-year career. So, I mean, right. A lot of people, when they see pass rush like guy like this, I've seen a lot of people when the news came out that we did look at him. It was like, I don't want a MAC player being our first round pick this year, which I silly take, because you can find plenty of MAC players, plenty of D2 guys, plenty of guys who have done their thing, right? FCS players. Talk about, I mean, I guess this is one thing that you could speak to as far as having a chip on your shoulder. Do a lot of the small school guys have that chip on their shoulder? Like when they go, obviously you hear the stuff, oh, small school guy, oh, let's pass on him. But you hear that kind of stuff. Is that the kind of thing that kind of like can drive a guy who does come from a MAC school, that kind of having that chip on his shoulder?
Yeah, a chip on his shoulder. I think you just want to show everybody, you want to measure yourself against everybody. So you have that obviously in the Senior Bowl and East-West Shrine game, and then of course the Combine is where you really get to measure yourself with these dudes, right? And so when you hear all these accolades and, oh my gosh, he's all SEC and ACC, and you done put a crown on him and a cape and all these different things, you want to come in and say, okay, I'll show you. I'll tell you what. You might say I'm from Toledo. I got something to show you. They were talking about Darren Sproles, and I read this. And Darren Sproles said he came in standing at 5'8". I forgot what they said, what he ran and stuff. He said he came home and he told his pops, said they were laughing at me. They were laughing at me. And sure enough, Darren Sproles just came and started hitting jokers over the head. You start looking at all these little small schools and guys where they come from. Hey, man, if you got heart and you can play, they're going to find you. It don't matter where you play. It doesn't matter. Because when it comes in, all said and done, when a man is up against another man, who's going to win this battle? Pure and simple. Darius Alexander, I'm going to put my money on him. That's what I'm going to do. Regardless of where you went to, Michigan, Ohio State, whatever, Darius Alexander, I'll say he'll take your money, your lunch money each and every time. I'm going to put my money on him. Why? Because he does have that drive. Yeah, he might have a chip on his shoulder, but more importantly, he wants to show you that, guess what? Hey, even though I went to Toledo, we still was able to go up there and kick tail. Didn't matter. So, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
This is from somebody who had a 13-year career at a small school. So there you go.
Yeah, 12. Well, but hey, when I came in, I had all my measurables. I had a 40-inch vertical. I did 225. I think they gave me that like 29 or something. They cheated me. I had really 32. The first three, he's like, nope, No, I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm repping it out. I ended up, my pro day, I ended up running a 4.47. So when I came out, I was like number 1 rated tight end in the nation. And so when you look at my measurables, I was blowing it out of water. So, I think it translates regardless of where you go.
Well, according to the beloved RAS score, JD, you got a 10 out of 10 on that.
Yeah.
I know everyone's been sharing the RAS scores, the 9.9s, 9.8s. JD had a 10. So guys, there you go. Take that RAS score. You can frame that bad boy, JD.
Yeah, baby. Hey, and that's, we say these scores and all these different things. Shoot, what is it? It's showing itself, right? We even said that because I showed you one on Gonzalez, on Tony. Yeah. And they gave him, I think, they gave him like a 47 on it, like a D grade or something. Crazy. Yeah. Yes, sir. Bad boy, man. Bad boy taste. I'm trying to tell you.
Bad. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
You get that score and do the Vince Carter. Over.
Yeah. Right.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.